Welcome back to Whiskey with E. I'm Eric. Now tonight we have a whiskey without the E. We are continuing with the Scotch trend. So with the Games of Thrones set, we have been reviewing a few of those lately, so I figured, you know what, may as well crack this one. The Singleton. Alrighty, so the Singleton single malt Scotch whiskey, Glendullan Distillery. Alrighty, so pretty much the Singleton is like a brand. I know. Normally, right, with scotches, you're going to see Clynelish, and that's going to be the Clynelish Distillery, or Dalwhinnie, or Lagavulin, or Talisker Distillery. You know, Singleton must be like one of the only ones that I know that is like made out of like 3 different distilleries. So this one being Glendullan. I believe there's a Glen Ord. So pretty much the different Singletons are like what is it? Designated. That's the word we're looking for. Designated for different parts of the world. So let's say Australia, we get a different distillery. You know. So I think we get Glen Ord. So pretty much this here in Australia is retailing for $135 at the moment. I believe I picked these up originally like, what was it, like 3 bottles for 200 back when they first came out. But anyways, this is only bottled at 40%, so this is House Tully. Alrighty, so anyone who's a Games of Thrones fan, I know this was released back in 2018. Games of Thrones is definitely going on to different seasons now, but I'm not really going to get into the whole Games of Thrones thing too much. I'm just going to really just explain this whiskey and what I'm getting from it. But we'll crack it open, we'll pour it up, and we'll have a little read. Alrighty, okay. Whoop. Alrighty, so like I said, this is 40%. Now it is a non-age stated product, and judging by the color, it is definitely caramel color added in there. It's definitely been chill filtered, but that all out of the way, let's just judge it for how it is. Alrighty, now you know how I said this retails for $135 and it's a non-age stated product? Keep in mind the 12-year-old is like $60 to $70. I don't know, actually, maybe there's another one. All right, there's one that's 80. Yeah, there's one that's 80. That's probably like the 12-year. There's like Malt Masters one, which is not a non-age stated product. I think that's cheaper. Now they have a 15-year that is retailing cheaper than this. It's like 100, 112 to 120, something like that, depending on where you get it. Alrighties, anyways, we're gonna crack this open. Sorry to bore you guys. This is gonna be my first glass of the night, so pause for the cork pop. Oh, you gotta love the squeakiness, that cork pop of scotches. Here we go. Alrighties, let's pour some up. We'll let it sit for a moment, and then we'll have a little read. Alrighty, so pretty much as it states at the back here, it says House Tully. House Tully's ancestral keep, River Run, spans the junction of the Red Fork of the Trident and the Tumblestone River, ruling as Lord of the Riverlands under the house sigil of the silver trout flashing above rushing water. House Tully embodies the surge of the rivers among which they live, with the determination of river waters that never ceased moving. They formed powerful alliances and fight against the current for family, duty, and honor. Next paragraph. Situated on the banks of the river Fiddish, in the wooded hills of Dufftown, Glendullan originally relied on the waters that surrounded it, harnessing the force of the waters that flowed through the land. It utilized a water wheel to power the entire distillery. Best served with a splash of water, this scotch has notes of... Maybe we'll look at the notes afterwards. I don't want them to put any notes in my head right now. So we'll come back to that. Alrighties, so I don't know how they're gonna link things, but I guess since this distillery is, I guess most of the distilleries in that region are relying off a single water river. So maybe this House of Tully in Games of Thrones. Leave it in the comments if you see any relation to the river in the Games of Thrones marketing, linking it to this distillery. You know what? Enough of that jazz. Let's get to the whiskey. Alrighties, we're not going to judge the color. Let's just get right into it. Give it a little bit of a coating on the glass. I mean, you could give it a light swirl, but this is preference, guys. Some people be gentle. Some people do it all different. But let's see what we get. What the? That is... Okay. At first you're thinking it's sweet, like it's bright. But then all of a sudden there's this musky note. Like mossy almost. Like, originally I'm thinking like, at first you were getting a vibe like, is this going to be like a Glen Grant style of Speyside kind of thing with the green apples? But no, I'm not getting any of that bright green apple vibes. Like maybe like the sweetness must be like an apricot. It is slightly apples, but it's not like the green apples. Like, you know, when you, that Glen Grant, there's Glenlivet, even they were really green appley. This is not green apples, but it is, there's a sweetness there. You could say it's real apples, like stewed apples. Yeah. All right, and there's a slight white pepper note right at the back. You could almost say that's like a, is it like a honeyed apple or something like that? There's like a, it's almost like it's a malty honey apple with a bit of like musky notes, like a moss or some earth, or, but obviously it's not peated, it's nothing like that. You know what, the nose is very interesting. Like it's actually different from the rest. I mean, we did just get off a lot of the peated stuff, so maybe it's good to get something unpeated into us. But you know what, enough of the jizz jazz. Let's have a sip and see how the first sip goes. Cheers, everyone. I mean, it is oily, all right? It is oily. All right. There's like a light pepper spice there. Like, I know I'm just coming off higher strength, higher percent alcohol whiskeys, so I'm trying to judge this in a non-judgmental way, judging it for it is 40%. But for 40%, you are like, the finish doesn't drop off. It's not in any means like it's like flat or watery, anything like that. Let's just say this is a good entry level type of flavors. It's, nothing's gonna scare you off and nothing's gonna be too challenging. But you know what, I need another sip, guys. I need another sip. Let's reevaluate it on the second sip. Here we go. Who's tried this version of Singleton from Glendullan? So you got to remember, I think there's like 3 different distilleries that make Singleton. So like I said, Glen Ord is one, Glendullan. Leave it in the comments if you know the other one. Alrighty, so let's have a sip. It's almost like it's so soft. It's just like a sweet honey. What is that? It's like it's some kind of fruit, but I'm not gonna say it's total green apples, but it could be like a stewed apples or like an apricot or something like that, jizzled in the honey, and then it heads to a malty note, and then eventually it just goes to like a slight white pepper, and then just drops off. So all the action almost just happens like right at the start. So mid, front palate, mid palate, and then back palate just lightly fades off. Like it's not one of those dramatic punch in the face kind of flavors that you're gonna notice. It's subtle. It's not bad, guys, but you know what? Let's add in some water and see how it goes. But you know what? Before we do, let's have another sip. I mean, the malty, you even have to dig for the maltiness. I mean, don't think of it like as it's grainy or nothing like that, but it is very soft. It is very just approachable. Obviously, it's 40%. You got to put that into effect, but let's put some water in there. A few drops. Let's see what the water does. Yep, I think the water brings out that stewed kind of apple, that apricot-y note or something. Yeah, slight vanilla, slight caramel, but obviously not like a bourbon, not like a burnt brown sugar type of deep vibes. This is more, it wants to be bright, but that musky note, it's making it feel like it's dark, but it's not, if that makes sense. Kind of reminds me of the Dalwhinnie a little bit, but the Dalwhinnie, being a little bit higher in strength, was a little bit more dramatic on the back end. So this, all the action at the front, mid palate, and then it just kind of just fades away. But the Dalwhinnie, there was still some flavors lingering as it's fading away. So there you go. The more I'm nosing this, the more different sweet notes is coming out. At first, you nose it and you're like, oh, what is that? Musky, kind of mossy, something like its own funk of some sort. But it's a nice funk. Like, I'm enjoying this funk. Not smoky or anything like that. It's not peated. You know what? Let's just have a sip. Cheers, everyone. Who likes Singleton products? I mean, we'll get into it. All right, cheers, everyone. Water just makes it even more soft. It's just too soft. It just feels like it just toned it down too much. I mean, I'm pretty much like a proof hound, guys. Like, yeah, let's just say I like my over 50%. These 40s to me, it's just already really diluted down. But man, do I recommend this? Maybe if you could, back when they were first released and you could find them for $30 in the US or $60, $70 here in Australia, now being $135. I mean, I don't think it's personally worth it. It's a non-age stated product. I mean, if you were just gonna buy it to put, add it to your collection, I don't even know if it's gonna really gain in value. But I guess if you're a Games of Thrones fan and you wanted to have the set, then yeah, you're gonna need to buy it. But if you were just planning to crack it open and drink it, kind of like what I'm doing now, it's probably not worth it. I just wasted $100 and something. We could have just gone and got like an age stated version of Singleton for cheaper. You could get the 15-year-old age stated version for $120 or $112 cheaper than this. So but is it nice? Am I enjoying it right now? Yes, I'm enjoying it right now. you know, but could it be more? Yes, it could be more because it's only 40%. But is it good for what it is? Yes, it's good for what it is. You know, for a 40% something, it's not just like it's water. It's not like you're drinking some cheap blended scotch. There is actually different nuances and complexities in there. Even though it just drops off right at the end, it's still not a bad dram. Anyways, let's have another sip, guys. Cheers, everyone. Hope everyone's having a awesome Monday night. Monday. Actually, whenever you guys see this, it might just not even be a Monday. But either way, wishing you all a good night or day. Much love to you all. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you like my randomness, my unedited, unscripted, total unprofessional vibes, then you may as well click those buttons and continue the show with me in the future. I'll be posting all the time, guys, but let's have this sip. Let's have this sip, this last sip with the water. Here we go. Cheers, everyone.